Alright guys, so today I'm going to be talking about 1917 the movie. Not the year, because if I talked about the year, then it would be quite boring, I think, and a lot of people will be tuning out of the video. So, yeah, we're just going to be talking about the film directed by Sam Mendes. This is quite easily one of the best war films ever made. And yes, it is an overused term. When you look at films like Full Metal Jacket, Saving Private Ryan, Platoon, all of those are like leading examples of, yeah, this is like one of the best war films ever made. This is how it's done. 1917 joins those films because it's just so great. The cinematography, the direction, the acting, everything works here, and I think it is highly deserving of the Best Picture for the 92nd Academy Awards. And guess what? Because of that, it didn't win. Instead, it was a film called Parasite that won the Best Picture. A black comedy about members of a poor family who scheme to become employed by a wealthy family by infiltrating the household and posing as unrelated, highly qualified individuals. And yeah, that last bit I did read off Wikipedia. But it's quite amazing, really. It probably is a good film. I've not seen the film, but I was honestly quite shocked when that film won, especially as it's a foreign language film, which is the first time that a foreign language film has won the Best Picture Oscar. It also won the Best International Foreign Language Film, which is a great thing. It probably is a great film, but personally, I think the most deserving film to win the 92nd Academy Awards is easily 1917, because a lot of work has gone into this film, and it all goes down to everyone who works on this film. Sam Mendes, the actors, the crew, everything just works. When I watched this at the cinema with my dad, I was blown away. Just blown away. The music is great. The music by Thomas Newman is very, very good, and I do like Thomas Newman's music, which he did on films like Skyfall, on Spectre, which coincidentally was also directed by Sam Mendes. So I guess Sam Mendes and Thomas Newman, they must really like working with each other. But I just really dig the music, I really dig the sound design, I really dig the cinematography. Honestly, one of the biggest shocks to come out of this year's Oscars was the fact that this didn't win as many of awards that it should have done. I mean, personally, that's how I feel anyway. There's some other great films that are really deserving of awards, like Le Mans 66. I've already reviewed that film, and quite honestly, that was one of the shocks to come out of this year. That was one of the best films to come out of the last year, easily. Of course, the most notable award for this year's Oscars is easily Joaquin Phoenix winning for his turn as the Joker. The Joker has now become only the second character in cinema history to have two different actors win an Oscar for that character. The other character in question was Vito Corleone from the Godfather films, because Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro won for that character, whereas with Joker it was Heath Ledger and now Joaquin Phoenix, and it's really good. Joaquin Phoenix easily deserved the Oscar for this year because, well, there wasn't that much more competition in his way. I think if he didn't win the Oscar, there would have been a huge outcry as to why he didn't win it. And it's really good to see that Brad Pitt won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Anyway, back to 1917. This film, the way it's done as if it's all one shot. There's clearly a few cuts during this film. I could only notice probably 3 or 4 times, like when they would have cut the film. But it just goes to show you the amount of dedication that has been put into this, the amount of rehearsal time, and just how everything works, the use of practical effects, the use of special effects, because everything in this film, it's like a dance routine. If you look at a dance routine and you're performing in front of millions of people, then you know that you have to get everything right in that routine. If you get one little thing wrong, then the whole thing fucks up. You have to start all over again from scratch, and you get penalised for it. Whereas with this film, everything is at stake. If there was one mistake with this, then they would have had to do the whole scene again, and scenes, they would have lasted for ages and ages, because the way it's done, it's all one shot. You can't just go over to another shot of the film. And trust me, it's very hard. I've done something like this myself. I've acted in something like this for a little short film that I did quite a few years ago. And trust me, it's quite hard for whoever's operating a camera to do this, and it could be quite hard for the actors. You have to get everything right. You have to get the lines right. You have to get your timing right. Everything needs to be key. And with a film like this, which is set just when they're going over the top, when they're fighting in the First World War, everything needs to be right. Everything looked amazing. Just the sets, everything. I cannot applaud the filmmakers enough for this. This is one of the groundbreaking achievements. The amount of dedication that was put into this is superb. It must be one of the most painstaking films that have ever been made in recent memory. I can't think of any other films that have really done this in recent times. Birdman did a little bit of this with the whole one shot, one camera set piece, and I really do like when films do this. Another example of this could be The Revenant, although it's not like that all the way through the film, but you get quite a lot of it. With this, you get the impression that it's all the way through the film. It's just one entire shot all the way through the film, and it is great, especially with the amount of people that are involved in this, all of the extras, everything. The two main actors in this film, you follow their story, and all it is just delivering a message to a captain, and they have to go over the top to do so, which means they're risking their lives. And a lot of the stuff that happens in this film is quite shocking. There's a few jump scares, and I actually did get a few jump scares. There's a bit in the film when they go inside this mine where all the Germans were hiding out. They fled for some reason, probably because they were getting attacked, and there's a tripwire inside that's been left there, probably as a trap in case one of the Allied soldiers went in there, and then boom, the whole place goes up. The two spot this, and they quickly realise they need to get out. But guess what? A fucking rat is there, and it makes the whole thing go up. And my God, when that happened, I got a jump scare. The sound design in this film is also superb, and it is worth mentioning because it's just everything. Sound, effects, what you see in front of you, it all comes together, and I feel that this was sort of robbed at the Oscars, and that's just me. I mean, like I said, I sound like a hypocrite saying this because Parasite, it could be the best film that come out in the last year. I would struggle because I do struggle with foreign language films, but it could be good. But for me, the amount of time and effort that went into this, it wasn't paid off in the end. This should have definitely won the Best Picture for this year at the Academy Awards. It was the biggest shock that it didn't win. And yeah, it's quite sad really, isn't it? Especially for Sam Mendes. Sam Mendes should have won for Best Director as well. But hey ho, because of all the time and effort that you put into something, you didn't get the recognition. And it sucks. It really sucks. 92nd Academy Awards, I give a 2 out of 10. 1917, if I could give more than 10, then I would. Film of the year. There, I've said it. Film of the year. Don't need to say anymore. If you've not seen this film, go and see it right now. It's amazing. Absolutely love this film. It's fucking amazing. The rat brings it down though. If it wasn't for that rat, then the film would have been even better. Because jump scares, I fucking hate them.